Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan here with you today. I'm the co founder and senior vice president here at JDog Brands, and I would like to welcome you to Tactical Treasures, a podcast sharing stories of veterans and military family members that have been impacted by specific objects or items in their lives. I will be interviewing voices in the veteran space to search for inconspicuous objects and moments that they turned into tactical treasures for their military career, business, and life. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Tim Jensen from Grunt Style. Welcome to the Tactical Treasures podcast, Tim.
Well, thanks for having me, Tracy. This is an incredible honor, and I am proud to be here today, shortly after your premiere of Operation Hidden Treasures, with an incredible show, and I'm glad to spend some time with you.
Oh, that's great. So, Tim, I understand that you served our country. Thank you for your service. I believe you were a Marine, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's like one of those things. How do you know a Marine? How do you know if a Marine has ever served? Because he'll tell you. And yes, one of those guys. Yeah, I served from 1997 to 2005, both in the active duty and a reserve component, and did a deployment to Iraq in 2004. September to around April time period. So there for the first national elections. An incredible and profound moment in my life.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, thank you for that. So, I would love to hear about Grunt Style and your role with the company. So, I do know a little bit about Grunt Style, and I've been to your headquarters in San Antonio and lovely, amazing work, which I'm not going to give too much away because, I want the viewers of the show to be in awe when they actually see the tour that Jerry and I took with you. But I understand that part of your role is trying not to be just a t-shirt company. So tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great having you here and seeing the how we operate behind the scenes. I think the story of Grunt Style is rather interesting, right? It was started in 2009 by a former drill sergeant in the Army that was on the exit of his active duty time and wanted to take that lifestyle and those beliefs and the characteristics that are imprinted upon us while our time in service and bring that to the civilian world. And what was the best way of doing that? T-shirts. So worked very hard to start setting that up. Hustling from base to base, PX to PX, selling out of the back of his car and doing all this, and then you start building a team, and that's where really Grunt Style started like building into this giant that it is today. And I came on around 2013 as a T-shirt folder, and from folding T-shirts, went to become a press operator, lead press operator, production manager, operations manager, chief operating officer, a partner, then president for a short period of time. And now I operate as a chief strategy officer and the co-owner of the business. And it's been an incredible journey, watching the company, go from, being a very small and irreverent brand that was, just speaking very raw military attitude at the time of, say the peak of the GWAT era. And it was very interesting during that time to see how everybody was really grabbing on to what Grunt Style was. Since then we've really become, I like to think, one of the largest patriotic apparel brands in the country. And we've over the years really have done a lot within our community and donated so much time and our profits towards things that are important to us. For example, we have partners in some legislation on Capitol Hill for toxic exposure. We partnered with JDog Brands and their incredible franchise. We've built and rebuilt towns in Rockport, Texas after the Hurricane Katrina. So we've done a lot of things. So we like to think of ourselves as more than a t-shirt company. And one of our most recent things to really bring more life to that is we've established the Grunt Style Foundation.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are doing great work. And I have to say, I myself thought t-shirts really like how and you're very successful at it. And I'm just wondering like how many t-shirts could you actually buy? But I have to tell you, I'm new to Grunt Style as far as t-shirts, but I'm addicted now. Like
Yeah.
I every new thing, like I just screenshotted something to Jerry and said, "Honey, they have a new hoodie out for women. You have to buy this for me. So, but I am, yes, I have a whole drawer dedicated to my grunt style t-shirts because
Well,
yes, it's military, but it's more about patriotism. Like I did not serve. I am not a mil spouse. I married Jerry after his service, but I'm a military family member and I'm a huge patriot. And I proudly wear the grunt style t-shirts because
yeah,
it just speaks to patriotism in our country and America. And so
absolutely.
you guys have
Uh,
done a great job with branding, I'll tell you.
Thank you. And I think it really comes down to our passion, right? The products that we sell are really, it is a byproduct of what we're truly doing, right? And what we're truly doing is we're communicating a passion for pride and self, pride in military, pride in country. That comes from our time in service that was very profound in our lives and made an incredible impact. And we're just bringing that to a larger audience of people and saying, hey, it's okay to be a patriot. It's okay to love your country, right? And
Mhm.
it's okay to have umbrage against your country as well, because that's the beauty of patriotism. Regardless of what side of the political spectrum that you're on, I believe that there is such a profound love for our country, and I'm using the word profound a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I watched Captain Kirk go to space yesterday. But what I think is interesting is that we all have a love of country, and what makes this country so unique and so historic in many ways is that we all have different ideas of what this country can be, and we are all marching towards that direction because we're progressive in the way that we open up our liberties and celebrate this idea of equality and democracy. And I think that is really the reason why Grunt Style is so successful is because we're passionate, we're authentic, and it's important that we continue to have a love of country.
Yeah, so true. I agree with you there. So you're involved with Operation Hidden Treasures, and you are actually our main sponsor. Thank you so much for that. So why was it important for Grunt Style to power the show as a main sponsor?
Well, that's a great question, Tracy. And I think what it comes down to is, part of our main mission is here to support our community, right? And we talked a little bit about that a moment ago. Um, but with that responsibility comes, other veterans that are doing great things in our space. And honestly, but between what Jerry and Tracy you've put together with the franchise of JDog is exactly the type of entrepreneurialism that we as veterans can bring to this idea of the United States into to commerce. And doing it in unique ways that are giving back to our community, that are empowering veterans to stand up and take control of their lives by giving them a little piece of something that they can be proud of. And those things really check up with me. As I've gotten older in my years, I've become a very more of a, like, I don't know, empathetic, or I've really come to terms with my feelings. And as I've done that, I've really start to look at all these other people that are out there doing great things, and by partnering with them and using our platform that we built over the years, and to amplify those messages and to get more people's attention onto the great things that our community as veterans are doing, it is only the right thing to do, in my belief.
Yeah, so true. I agree with you. It takes a village, right, to do all the things that we're trying to do in the veteran space. Um, so, are there any projects that you're currently working on that make an impact on the veteran community?
Yeah, there's two projects that I'm particularly proud about, and where we're at in the development of them. First is the Grunt Style Foundation. It's been something that we've been talking about for many years, and we've finally put some organization to that. And over the course of the next couple months, you're going to see more and more of Grunt Style talking about the foundation and the things that the foundation are doing, and really the impacts that they're having in our community. Because it's focusing on four real main areas that we think it will make an impact in veterans' lives. And that's mental health and wellness, veteran sustainment, job transitions, and better food insecurities and homelessness.
Mm.
So those are really what the foundation is putting their efforts towards, and it's fantastic. And Jerry's a board member of the foundation,
Mhm.
and I'm proud to again partner with an individual that is on their own with the JDog Foundation doing such incredible things for the veteran community. The second project that I'm extremely proud about, we haven't completed yet, but we are well on the way, is working with Burn Pits 360, an organization that has organized over 10 years ago to really bring national attention to toxic exposure, which is having an incredible effect on the global war on terrorism veterans. Over the 20 years, 3.5 million veterans have transferred in and out of, or Americans rather, have transferred in and out of Afghanistan and Iraq, and have been exposed to a multitude of different toxic chemicals and inhalants. That is having a very, very terrible effect on our community. Or, the numbers are somewhere between 100 and 200,000 have died from this within the last 20 years. I personally have lost my battalion commander, my battalion XO, my dearest friend, Frank Hazelwood. And it's become quite personal to me. I know a lot of individuals that I've deployed with and many others that have deployed that are suffering from, cancers that you would normally not see in a very healthy individual.
Right.
So with our legislation that we have up on the Hill, we have the opportunity of providing presumption to 3.5 million veterans that have gone in and out of about a dozen or two, between a dozen and 2 dozen nations that have really had an impact, and these cancers can be tied back to, which roughly is about 21 cancers. So I'm really proud of that. If we can get it across the board, I think it'll be a very huge success for our community, and something that hasn't been done in many, many years.
Well, I really hope you can get that taken care of. It sounds like it's very, very needed.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your treasure. I would
Oh,
love
yes.
to hear about it.
Well, I think with this comes a little bit of story. But I have with me today, and that is a letter signed by President Harry S. Truman that was sent to my grandfather from the White House. So it has the official White House seal on it, and it reads, to you who have answered the call of your country and served in its armed forces to bring about the total defeat of the enemy, I extend this heartfelt thanks of a grateful nation. As one of the nation's finest, you undertook the most severe task one can be called upon to perform. Because you demonstrated the fortitude, resourcefulness, and calm judgment necessary to carry out that task, we now look to you for leadership and example in further exalting our country in peace.
Wow.
Incredible letter from the president.
Yes.
My grandfather was uh, in the Army Air Corps. He was a draftsman, so he was an engineer, and my understanding, he had some playing time as well. So, when I was a young man, and why this is so important to me is when I was a young man, I found my grandfather's box of medals, and nobody in our family had really known that he had served in the military because that generation didn't talk about World War II.
Right.
I found those medals. One of my birthday gifts as a young man was the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I looked up as many medals as I possibly could and organized them in the ribbon rack as they would be presented, and made a nice little presentation in a cigar box and gave it back to my grandfather, only to get my heart smashed into a million pieces because he was so, I think, taken aback by a flourishment of memories that he had not experienced in quite some time, and he kind of just projected that onto me, and it had it really stuck with me to this day. 30, 40 years later,
Mm.
and so that was my motivation to say, man, like I want to know more. And then I went down the path of understanding the military, doing all this research and military history and World War II and all this and the other, and Vietnam, became a huge Vietnam geek, and then I had aspiration to join the Marine Corps. So that interaction put me on the path of defending my country, similar to my grandfather. And in my family, I have three brothers, two of which served in combat zones, and a sister that served in Afghanistan as um, a naval intelligence. So it was quite fantastic impression that he left on our family.
Wow. That is amazing. So you and all your siblings have served. That's
Yes, ma'am.
amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Um, so I know you still have the letter, obviously you have it framed. What about the medals? Do you still have his medals?
The one thing I have remained, that I have kept is his dog tags.
Mm.
And I jumped with them into Market Garden on the 75th anniversary, which was, I think, a fitting tribute to the old man. But his ribbons, he passed away from cancer at the age of 75,
Mm.
and he. Here's a touching moment. And if I get a little emotional on this, I do apologize. But
It's
what was
okay.
fantastic is from that time I put that box together, he had tucked it away and never messed with it, never did anything with it. And when I opened it back up to place those medals upon his chest as he was being interred, um, it was a remarkable moment. And I wanted him to go on his new adventures with a nice little ribbon rack on him that he can point out to his friends when he was received home.
Oh, wow. That how special. What a special moment and a great way to, for a tribute to your grandfather and his service. That's amazing. Amazing,
Well,
amazing
thank you.
story.
But my son is named after him, and my youngest son is named after my grandfather's father. So we're kind of keeping it a long
Keeping
tradition running.
keeping it in the family. That's great.
Oh,
Well,
and then my son
Tim,
just joined the Navy.
huh? I'm
There you
sorry.
go. And my son just joined the Navy as well. So that's there you go.
Really? Oh, wow. Well, following in the family's footsteps, definitely.
There you go.
That's
A
great.
family of service.
Family of service. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today, Tim. Thank you so much for sharing such special memories and your very special treasure with us today. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much for having the opportunity, and I love what this program is doing, and I hope to hear more of these moments from other people as well.
Thank you. For all the viewers watching, please don't forget to check out Operation Hidden Treasures on Discovery Channel at 8 a.m. Eastern on Sundays to see more stories of veterans turning junk to jewels. The new series follows enterprising U.S. military veterans and their families whose mission is to salvage and repurpose otherwise unused items and turn them into hidden treasures for people in need. Every episode will also include a JDog auction of an intriguing item discovered during a cleanout and made available to bid on by the public via the JDog website. Profits from every auction are donated to the JDog Foundation, which helps fund PTSD resources and supports veteran organizations combating veteran suicide. There are items currently listed for auction, so go and take a look on either jdog.com or operationhiddentreasures.com to see if one of the items can be your new treasure. You can follow Tim Jensen and the Grunt Style team on gruntstyle.com to see all their new t-shirt designs and to see what their foundation is up to. So we look forward to what is in store for them in the future. Thank you very much.